David, hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Let's start with the latest injury news and what can you kind of tell us? Any sort of squad news ahead of this weekend's game?
Obviously, Dimi is back in training. He followed the concussion protocol. Everything worked to plan. Back in training. Obviously, Sam McCallum is unavailable because of his suspension. O'Neill has some problems, but I hope he will be all right. But anyone else is ready like in the past.
Yeah, I think you mentioned last week Shemi Poeta might return to training towards the end of this week. Has that gone as planned, or is it?
No, unfortunately not. So we have to delay this. I think we should not rush now anything. So it looks like that we have to make sure that the plan should be that he is back for pre-season, and this is what now our plan is.
And just to clear up on Sam McCallum, that's 3 games, isn't it? 3 game suspension, or is it just the one for the red card?
I think it's one game, so this
right.
is what I've heard. So
yeah, I think it's
quite surprised about the question. So
cool.
I think it's 1 game.
It's good to clear up because I thought it was 3.
No,
That's fine. What has the last few days been like? Has there been a lot of kind of lifting people from your perspective, or has it just been a case of trying to leave what happened last weekend in the past, essentially?
No, obviously, to be fair, I think sometimes it makes sense to feel the pain, and obviously it was very painful what we experienced at the last weekend, but then obviously it's a moment where you have to move on and where you have to be clear to try to get focused for the next one. Obviously it's West Brom, experience side, quality side, physical side, good in set pieces, very organized as well, and try to make sure that you do everything to get a result on Saturday.
It maybe got lost a little bit because of the results, but against, obviously on Saturday and then against Middlesbrough as well, certainly for the early portions of that game, it felt like the scene kind of started well. It was only once maybe the first goal went in that maybe the slide and the drop in performance level came. Is there a kind of confidence issue, a mentality issue with this group at the moment?
To be fair, for me, it's quite difficult to speak about that we had periods in the game where we were quite good or okay or well when you conceded 2 defeats like we did. At the end of the day, and this is the truth, we made in these 2 games too big and too many individual errors. So the goals which we conceded, this is something which is what should not happen. Individual mistakes, lack of concentration, lack of composure in one or other situations, or just not doing your job, like before the first game when we defended the set piece, this corner. And this at the minute cost us extremely. Obviously, confidence isn't on the highest level anyway, and then if you concede like after mistakes like we've done, it isn't easier in this moment. And this is what we have to make sure that we, especially in the defense, we don't do mistakes like we did in the past. And this is what is very, very important for us to get the confidence back, to get our moments back, hopefully to score early and first as well, to have a lead. Obviously, this will always change games, but at the minute, we have done too many big mistakes. You can see that the one or other individual struggles with the situation which we face, but this is where they learn from, and this is where they have to make their next steps to get stronger, to get better, to get mentally stronger as well. And this is what hopefully will happen on Saturday.
Yeah, I know you obviously have said this, and it's certainly not an excuse, but it is a young group at the moment. Obviously, missing quite a few senior players through injury. So even though they're going through a tough period of time, actually for the sort of forward looking, it might not be the worst thing in the world in terms of their kind of mental development. Even though it kind of, as you say, they're kind of suffering and feeling the pain at the moment.
To be fair, I know where you come from, but yes, we have a young squad, very young starting 11, which we've used. But this doesn't mean you can't do your job individually in this single situation. This is not a lack of experience or a lack of age. Are you mature or not? This is you have to be focused. But the truth is as well, and you are totally right. you have to make your experience, and as earlier you will do it, as quicker hopefully you will learn from it, and obviously then your improvement is a bigger one as well. I will not speak about how young our group at the minute is. I don't like that this should sound like excuses. This is not what I like to. We like to work with young players, but they have to grab their chances, and they have to make sure that in the minute when they have the chance, that they do everything, at least in terms of concentration and focus, to perform on the highest level. So it's not about the effort. This is not what I mean. It's about be mentally strong in these occasions, to be focused and concentrate every single situation and every single second. And this is where we lack in the last 2 games. And hopefully we will make, as you said, these young players make their improvement in the next games.
I'm interested to ask, just because you've obviously been in the job now for a few months. I'm sure you would have arrived with maybe certain ideas and certain thoughts of it. Has it proven to be a bigger job in terms of there maybe being a bit more work than you anticipated needed? You've obviously already spoken about change that's needed to this group, as obviously everything that happened last Saturday in the last few weeks. Has it been kind of a bigger job than maybe you expected it to be?
I don't know if it's a bigger job or not, but to be totally honest, this is not what counts for me. What counts for me is, and this would be, this is always the case, if you are inside for a longer period, it looks always different than you are looking out from outside over a short time of periods, so shorter time. So I have now a very, very good inside view, and I said this already, we already made our first decisions. We are already planned for the next season. And to be totally honest, and this is for me since a few weeks, I'm so excited about the next season. And this doesn't matter about which division we are. It's only about, because I know there's a lot of space for improvement. We have a lot of work to do. We already had the first meetings, conversations with players and agents as well. So we are really working hard behind the scenes to improve this team, this football club for the next season. But we still have 2 further games to go, where I like that our players who are in charge now at the minute try to give their best. They really make their learning curve really upwards. And this is what we are focused at the minute. But I'm absolutely excited about what is in front of us.
I know this is maybe a hard question given where we are, and as you say, games to go, and maybe looking into the summer. But do you feel you've referenced change, and obviously other people have referenced change inside the club? Do you feel it's going to be possible to do all of that inside one transfer window, or do you think it's going to take perhaps a little bit longer than just the summer, essentially, to kind of get the change that you want to see here?
I think now we speak about the winter and the next summer transfer window without starting the first transfer window. So I think to give you a serious answer, I think let's get now this 2 games done, and then make sure we have a proper pre-season, a proper window as well. Get the plan in place which we have. And obviously, normally nothing is done in one window, but you can do a lot, and this is for sure something what we aim for.
Obviously, the fans at the moment are feeling incredibly frustrated. I think they made that pretty clear last weekend. 2 games obviously left of this season. How important is it for you, the guys, to produce a performance that's able to kind of bring them back on board a little bit and trying to give them something to be optimistic about heading into the summer? Is that kind of a conscious thought in your mind heading into the last 2 games?
To be fair, at the end of the day, it's first and foremost about the points and the result and the performance. Obviously, this would help to look maybe even more positive forward. But as I said, I already look very, very positive forward anyway. And this doesn't only depend on the next 2 results. I like to see for sure a performance and results which are positive, because every single individual has now 2 further games to show what he's capable of. And obviously these are important for us, for our thoughts looking forward as well. And this is why I'm looking forward to this next game. West Brom, great game, good occasion, a good opponent as well, and obviously then the last home game as well.
Yeah, I know they lost against Sunderland last weekend, but I think the home record since Carlos took over there has been really strong. So in terms of a test, it still feels absolutely massive, doesn't it, this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So they have a very good home record. I think our away record is not the worst as well. As I said, we have to make big steps in improvement compared to the last two games in terms of focus, concentration, individually perform, especially in the defensive on the highest level, to stay and to keep solid, and then obviously to use your pattern in the offensive as well. Great test for us, and I'm looking forward to it.
Obviously, it's the first time we've been able to speak to you since all of the results that have happened. But I mean, still 3 points outside the playoffs. I know maybe it doesn't necessarily feel like it's within touching distance, but it's still mathematically possible. So, I mean, what do you kind of make of that challenge? Is it something you're kind of looking at, or do you think kind of the perception has changed? And it's a difficult thing to talk about at the moment, I guess, given the form and whatnot.
No, listen. I'm realistic, and I'm not a dreamer. I think. When you only won one game in 9, you don't deserve to be and to speak about the playoffs. And this is why I only like to speak about West Brom and this game, and that we as a group and every individual has to come to another level in form of focus and concentration. This is the only thing what I like to speak about. I think you don't deserve to speak about the playoffs if we only won one game in 9. We have to speak about to win another football match, and the next opportunity for us is on Saturday.
We obviously spoke about how young the group is at the moment. You've got obviously some incredibly experienced guys coming back from injury, Isaac Hayden, who you've already spoken about, but also Sam Byram. I mean, do you see him as somebody who could play at centre back if that was a requirement for you? I think he has done here in the past, just to give you a little bit more experience in maybe those central positions.
This could be an option for sure. Obviously, we are not great in numbers on the centre-back position at the minute, to say it in a nice way. So Lungi is doing his job as good as he can, even if he is not a natural centre-back. Obviously, then the next choice would be Sam Byron, yes, but we should not underestimate how long he was out and that he still has to adapt. So we still have to be very careful with him in terms of the training regime, that he get his rest over trainings week, especially after he played some minutes. So this is still something where we have to have our eye on, that Sam stays healthy. So it isn't that after 5 months of injury and with the injury record which he has had, he comes back, plays, trains everything, plays more, trains everything, plays more, and then he starts. This is not how you at the minute can treat Sam Byron. But I'm very happy that he's back consistently with us in the group in the last, I think, 3 or 4 weeks.
That was going to be my next question, really, because his fitness record over the last few years has been difficult. He's obviously had a lot of time out. As you just said there, it's about kind of managing him as well. But what have you kind of made of him? He's probably not a player that you've been able to see too much of, sort of because he's only come back in the last few weeks. What's kind of been your assessment of him since he's come back into training and back in and around the group?
I think everybody can see immediately that he's a top footballer. So he understands the game, good technique, good vision. He has everything. So he has, and we have to make sure that his body doesn't let him down. This is, I think, the big thing for him. But there is not a shadow of a doubt about his quality as a footballer.
Just last few from me. Obviously, he alongside Kieran Dow, and we know because we've spoken about it so many times, out of contract this summer. I think there's been some reports this week linking Kieran Dow with Rangers potentially and a contractual option there. I mean, you said last week that you were kind of having conversations with him. Do you feel that, I know you maybe can't tell us too much, but do you feel that's heading in the direction that you would maybe like it to be heading in?
At the end of the day, I don't like to speak now in this week about certain individuals, but I know what's going on behind the scenes. But I don't like to speak about Kieran or any other individual where the contract runs down, or even when the contract doesn't run down. So I think let's be focused on West Brom and not on individuals.
Yeah, we mentioned the frustration earlier on. I'm sure maybe you are aware, maybe you aren't aware, but 1 win in 9. And at some point, I guess the fans are probably going to look to you as the head coach and maybe your role within that form. I mean, how do you kind of deal with that as a head coach? How easy is it for you and I guess the players more broadly to kind of switch off from that criticism that is arriving at the moment?
No, at the end of the day, I respect and I accept every criticism. You can't like or be one of the people who get the praise if you have 3 wins in a row or whatever, and then you have tried to shy away if you have only 1 win in 9. So I totally understand and respect the frustration, which I share, to be fair. But I know, and I already tried to deliver the one or other explanation, and this is something different than excuses. What happened, even if I don't like it. And obviously I said as well and gave the one or other explanation how we will change it in the short term, but in the medium and long term as well. And we have everything in our head. I have everything in my head. I communicated to the right people everything. Everyone is on board, and this is why I'm so excited about what is in front of us. And in general, I respect the frustration, but on the other hand, it doesn't change. It's all about the next game and the next chance. Now we have it on Saturday against West Brom.
Good stuff. Thanks, David. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Connor.
Cheers.